forced into our applauding. And we have to be very careful, especially in this country, how we applaud. But in the process of getting so lazy, I've seen some people applaud like this. So you have to be really careful, because every time I'm saying something, I'm doing something, you're more watching me than listening to me. So we need to be really careful about that. I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity, because I'm a very simple person. You can see I don't believe in kind of going through processes which are normal. Because I've learned that in communication, giving up is far more important than acquiring. And I've given up everything that I believe was not necessary to my speaking. Simple language. Everyone should be able to understand. Everyone should find one point of interest in what I'm sharing. Finally, you start with a bang, continue banging, and end with a great bang. The patient walked into my office and he told me, I feel like dying. You know what I said? Oh, you leave that to me. But I didn't mean it. I meant I can help him. But for a minute he got up. And he was looking at me like that. Because sometimes we don't really mean what we say, and we just speak off the cuff. At the Toastmasters, we get an opportunity to experiment in an arena where you can make mistakes, you won't be judged. You can come up and say whatever you want and you won't be judged. So what does the brain have? It has a small stopper in future. If you're going to say the wrong things, it will tell you, stop. Because there is something which communicates with all of us, we have shut it off. So ladies and gentlemen, for every opportunity that I have gotten to interact with somebody who's other than me, I talk to myself a lot, by the way. I don't care if anyone's listening. Because that's one way of keeping on practicing. Practice makes everybody improve. And if I'm not getting maybe about 18 hours of good speaking every week, I've delved in all aspects of speaking. It just means that you're training, you're coaching, you're teaching, you're radio jockeying, I'm an actress, I've done theatre, we do lots of sessions on voice and body, we teach you how to project. I don't need a microphone, I can reach maybe 5,000 people by throwing my voice. And it's an art. We all have the same larynx. Have the same vocal cords. But how we are using it is very different. So are we capable of the same? Yes. Are we really pushing ourselves? No. And that's why I'm here to request all of you to please spread the message to a lot of friends who require this movement a lot, and to all of you who are really good, please come up here and share all your goodness with somebody else, because it only doubles up. You don't lose anything in Toastmasters. And please don't say I don't have time, because a busy person always has time. 16 careers, traveling between 7 different places in 1 week. I'm still here. So a truly busy person always makes time. You don't find time. Toastmasters just takes maybe 1 or 2 hours of your time. By the way, they don't pay me anything. Okay? There's somebody who asked me yesterday. Who's asking? It's a complete voluntary organization. But yes, they do make what they need to in order to help us with all the language and the rest of it. That's my business. I'm not going to just discuss. But I'll tell you just one thing. You make friends, and you never know in life when you need one. You never know when you just want to stand next to a human being, because most of us have ended up becoming human doings. I need, I have to. Are you a hobo? Are you a human? I am a human being. I come from nothingness. I go to a state of being nothing. So I don't acquire anything. I studied all that I had to realize I need not have done that. But I don't discount education. I understand what education is. But at the same time, I think between all of us, can you imagine if all of us got together, we have 25 strengths in this room. But if I alone stand somewhere, I may just have one strength. And that's how we learn through sharing. That's how we've learned at Toastmasters, through sharing as much as we can. Take what we need, because ladies and gentlemen, we need to communicate. If there is a problem today, it's because we're not communicating well. If there is an issue at work, it's because we're not communicating well. If there's an issue at home, it's because we're not communicating well. If there is an issue not only with friends, colleagues, and with family, it's because we are not communicating well. And what is communication? It is only about the listeners. It's not about the speaker at all. I cannot share with you the methods in practice, but I'll close it all down in a few sentences. And these are all jokes. Take it in a lighter spirit and just have a good laugh before you spit. Like I said, laughing is good for you. All your endorphins get released, all your stresses vanish, and we just finish on time. How many of you married in this hall? How many of you not married? How many of you are married and don't feel married? I request all of you to join me on Facebook. You must read my one-liners, they're all original. Like today I said, some people lose their virginity at a particular age, but once you're married, you may find it again. English is a strange language, you can twist it in whatever way. And everyone comes up to me and says, oh man, oh wow. And you know, it's like they have 100, 200 post discussions every day. And it's fun because what are we doing? We're stimulating your brain because your brain needs stimulated with words. And that's why as counselors, when someone walks up to me, they feel good or they feel bad based on the words I'm using. So please, my request to all of you is spread the message as much as you can in such a big, wonderful organization. You all are underutilizing the potential of maybe a science which is so important, which is communications. And maybe if you just bring in 5 people onto the movement, you'll be doing your part on doing what you're supposed to do on planet Earth, which is share something so natural, yet so unexplored. A couple, marriage is always the butt of all my jokes, and that's all I'm preaching. Behind every successful man is a woman, like you said. And behind her is your wife. That's an old saying. Well, now they say behind every successful man are 2 women. So that's a different story. But behind every happy woman is a tired man. And behind every successful woman, ladies and gentlemen, is her maid. All women in all gatherings agree with me on that. It's all I coin myself. I keep playing with words. They will call me semantic. You have to be very careful how you say that word. Somebody introduced me in St. Joseph's day before yesterday and said, she's a semantic. Made me sound a little funny in a few instances. I went to Niman and somebody introduced me and said, Dr. She's come here to deliver. And then he gave a pause and then said, I speech. You have to be careful with what you're saying. You can use that properly. Like for example, Nimappa Nai. Does he breed dogs? So it's where you intonate and you break. And you can just say, sorry, Archana. So it teaches us a lot of fine-tuning. It's like music, you know. Marriage is the butt of all my jokes. Like I say, I'm very happily married. I have a few kids, I'll stop at that. I have a few dogs, so I understand the importance of non-verbal communication. And I understand what it means to howl, to scratch, to roll over, you know, those kind of things which you can study. Because ladies and gentlemen, communication is eternal. It can go on and on and on. I'm very privileged to be between all of you. And I'm very, very grateful to Cisco for having had me over into your premise. I'm very, very grateful to Pradeep and Vamshi who's been talking to me. And I asked him, are you sure it's me you want? Because as a rule, I'm a non-conformist, you can see that. But then I don't know if you had a great time. If you did, then later on, after my joke, you can do what's good for your heart. And I think that's a nice way of putting things across. A married couple, I'm sure you must have seen it. All of them are either from something I've read or somebody has shared that with me. And I'm not ending with this joke. Good listening. The last joke is a real joke, real life one. And that also taught me a lot actually last week. A couple sitting in a restaurant, okay, having a nice meal. 40-year-old couple, married together. And suddenly they see this man and his wife still not staring at the jack. He's still not drinking, you know, one after the other, one after the other. His wife's everyone staring at him. So the husband's curious. He asks the wife, what happened? Why are you staring at him? Because he was my ex-husband, you know. What is going on? Thinking. So this girl was like, watching again the wife staring at that chair. And the wife said, I left him 20, 30 years ago, you know. He's still drinking. So the husband, he looks and he says, it's amazing how long he's celebrating. See the way a brain thinks. She's pitying him because she worries and cares about his health. And he says, oh my God, how long he's celebrating. It's unimaginable that you left her. Is there anything wrong with both of them? No, absolutely not. So it's a perspective we need to understand in communications. Maybe this kind of communication I wouldn't do in another audience. Now I made it semi-formal so that the message can be driven home in a very nice way. I could have said the same thing by telling you, this is a movement which has 50,000 members, 10,000 million kilometers spread across the globe with 15 countries including India. I gave it to you in a different perspective. It is very important to understand what is the perspective that will help people to connect. And for that we need to deal with millions of people every day. And there we get an understanding of what might be a human connect. Because for me that is the most critical thing. Ladies and gentlemen, for the real joke, if you like the joke, at the end of the joke, we need to build up not my energy but all your energy as well. This is a real commercial street tailor joke. You're walking on commercial street. How many of you have been on commercial street in this hall? Okay, almost everybody. Have you not gone to commercial street? Not yet, is it? Brigade Road, I'm sure you've gone. I've heard all people from Kerala, you know, they come in and say, oh, let's go to Brigade Road now. I don't know what there is, even I've gone there a couple of times. And I really wonder, there's somebody who asked me, a student, man, you are on Brigade Road now. So I was like, oh goodness, I should have been here. And it's a waste of perspective. But Commercial Street is one busy street, alright? And they've got these small little tailors, you know, ladies in the tailor, you know. All kinds of tailors, you know, and they go by precision. And some of them don't have the time, some of them take 2 months to deliver garments, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not very good in Kannada, but I'll take a try. Okay? So, languages, you have to be proficient in language. You can't have no excuse for understanding that. So you're walking there, I see a tailor, he's having this horrible argument with a lady. And the complaint is that she's given something for stitching. And it's not turned out well. I don't know what the scene is, but I can see it. What is happening? She is growling, she's explaining per meter what happened to the silk and who brought it for her and the transportation charges and the ream charges and what all she was expected to wear this and go for a brilliant function. You know, she's narrating because that is her style, you know. And this chap is just, you know, listening. And then she's saying, क्या इसमें shape नहीं दिया, shape नहीं दिया, shape नहीं दिया, क्या shape है ये, देखो, and you know, she's like standing there like that. And this fellow is like, you know, I'm standing right next customer, right? So it's a big prestige issue for him. His reputation is being slashed, and he's being shouted at by a lady. So in many ways, he's also agitated. And she's shouting. And she said, ये तुम ही रख लो. And then she listened. When I went in, I just made a big mistake. I just didn't say anything. I looked at him and I just smiled. And then I asked him, but by the time he was so angry, ladies and gentlemen, he just didn't know what to say. And I asked him what happened. So he was waiting for what we call a vent. You know what he did? He said, Madam, devre urike shape ko tillante. It means when God himself has not been kind, what does she expect the tailor to do for her? Right? So the irony of it, ladies and gentlemen, I'm driving home is, we are all naturally imperfect. It's alright. The biggest skill in communications is not perfection, it's imperfection. That's what connects. And that's why when a priest went to heaven, we started with the priest, I'm ending with the priest. Okay? Priest walks into heaven and then he sees that the taxi driver, priest has got 5 crowns, okay? Taxi driver has got 10 crowns. So priest is a little shocked and asks God, I gave your sermons, I preached your praise, I did what I'm technically supposed to do. all the manuals which were given to me, I read and I performed and I did exactly the communication and the leadership role which I was supposed to do. Why I have 5 crowns and the taxi driver has 10 crowns. And I believe God said, when you did all what you did, according to your books, according to leadership, according to communication, every single person in that sermon slept. But when the taxi driver drove like the way he did, with full commitment, zeal, enthusiasm, imperfection, everybody in the taxi prayed. That is communication. It's all about the connect. Look forward to seeing all of you once again. I'm available on Facebook. That's my second address. Twitter, everywhere. I'd love to interact with you, stay connected. Many more friends, and it's always nicer to keep spreading your human circle because it adds value not to you but to me. So if I made any sense, let's get our hands together for all of us. Thank you for sitting there. Look forward to seeing all of you at LA 1924 whenever you get the time. And it's an honor always to stand in front of anybody who's you. We're very privileged. I deal with death every day. I deal with a lot of problems every day. And I've seen how kids today live on Google Bhagwan. It's important for them to realize there's a huge difference between real life and online existence. And I, for one, believe you need to understand the balance between both of it. Toastmasters has helped me worldwide to connect with millions of people. So I'm more of a giver than a taker from the movement. I will continue to do so long as many people are not just inspired, but just love to keep on learning more and more to share. If I don't say a huge thank you, Sridhar, for having started this club, and Mr. President, for having led now the committee that's going to move forward, I'll be failing in my duties. They say, the good is never said, the bad is always said. It should be the other way around in communications. I believe if you have a nice gift, which is all wrapped, and we're not giving it away, there's absolutely no point in having that gift. So my heartfelt thank you to you, my thank you to you, and every single person who reached out to me. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
That was a big bang post on the wall. So let's activate our peripheral nerves again and give a round of applause. In the era where relationships are called on and off on Facebook, as Dr. Ushi Mohandas said, we in Toastmasters believe in connecting, communicating, and helping others improve. So now, our Toastmasters have the officers of the Toastmasters office have put in a lot of efforts to grow lots of crops, to harvest them, and build a beautiful farm in the Cisco Samvad farm mill. So, to recognize their efforts, let me call upon our President Sudhanshu to hand over, to give away the Officers Recognition Awards and the Educational Awards.
To reach to the TCP points, I think there are few recognitions from Toastmasters. Let me call Sridhar for completing the Competent Leaders Award. So as Dr. Ushi already called out, Sridhar, many thanks. He has been the foundation member of this club, and the next person is Archana, the competent communicator. Archana also has been always, with Cisco Samvad. I think both of them have been two eyes of Cisco Samvad. Otherwise, this club wouldn't have existed by this time. So thanks a lot. Thanks a ton for Sridhar and Archana. And this one is for myself. And I'm hoping that in the coming season we will have I think few more CAs and the Sridhar maybe that ACB and all other things. And with that, I think we will have some momentous for the outgoing officers. Can everyone come here, please, the outgoing officers? Okay, I think that was all, and over to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, President Sudhanshu. We look forward to getting much more certifications in the next round. And Facebook, as many people say, is a waste of time. I personally don't believe it. Because there's one interesting thing I found out about Facebook. You can earn lots of money and they save lots of time. What you have to just do is log into your Facebook account. On the top right corner, there's this account setting. Go there and deactivate your account and get back to work. That is how you can you can save lots of time and earn lots of money. And now it's time to sign out. And before that, keep signed in till I call upon Toastmasters Archana for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumaya, for that wonderful thing, Facebook. We were discussing just last night and she picked me and she said she had this idea. I said, yeah, why not try it? And I think she did far justice to that. Let's give her a warm round of applause. We started off beautifully with a note by an outgoing president about the wings of confidence that the Toastmasters platform gives is nothing but communication and leadership. And it continued with Pradeep sharing his thoughts about the talent that a leader brings to the club and to the members. And I am not able to sum up whatever you just said, Ushi. It was an inspirational speech. I have been with Toastmasters for the past 5 years, and I think this is by far the best I've ever heard about how Toastmasters, or what one learns from Toastmasters. Your 5 pointers are definitely a memory for me, and I'm going to continue to share that to the rest of the world that I know of. It was a pleasure having you, and I would personally thank you for coming here and enlightening us with that speech. Let's give her a warm round. Thank you to all the officers who helped organize this particular event. Reach out to all the folks arranging transport, arranging the arrangements and the logistics and everything. On the last note, we do have some snacks, so please feel free to stay and network while you have some snacks. On that note, thank you. Looking forward to see you all afterwards.
I think Dr. Rushi, it was also our honor to have you and here and I think listen to you because
human doings.
and I think we can see that I can foresee that there will be one situation where the house will be full of audience and we will definitely have you once again. I think we will take it to that level. I'm hoping in that sense.
Yeah, I'm sure too. I'm sure too. If there is a will, there's a highway.